I've heard there's a tavern in Mondstadt called the Cat's Tail, where Genius Invocation TCG masters from all over Teyvat go to face off. If I ever get the chance to travel abroad, that's the first place I want to go. I just wish Mondstadt wasn't so far from here. Why doesn't Snezhnaya have a place like that? What kind of nation do you think Snezhnaya will become? You know, I've never asked anyone that before. The villagers are too busy worrying where their next meal is coming from, and the highwaymen are too preoccupied with their next scam. No one has the time to entertain that kind of talk. But you're the perfect person to ask. We don't need to swap answers right now, though. I still want to give it some thought. After all, I suppose it's just a different way of asking what ideal we aspire to. To me, Her Majesty the Tsaritsa is like the snow that covers this land. She brings a bitter cold we have no choice but to endure. But she also provides a buffer against the darker things in this world. Will any child of this frozen land ever see it thawed? I do wonder if the Tsaritsa will ever grant that mercy. I was very surprised to learn that Odette was part of the Rokat. I never thought a member of the Fatui would share our principles. But now that I've been proven wrong, I'm starting to think that making the changes we want to see might not be as difficult as I imagined. A brighter future for this nation is still within our grasp. Vodyanitsa is a vital source of intelligence for the Rokat. Whenever I go to her for information, she's always a huge help. When we're not talking business, though, I can barely make heads or tails of what she's trying to say. But Odette doesn't seem to have that problem. Those two get on like it's the most natural thing in the world. Makes me wonder if girls have some kind of secret code. The first time I met Valeriy, he blocked my path and turned me away from the Armory Palace, listing off some article of some regulation or other that said I wasn't allowed to approach. I mean, I was sneaking around with a hunting rifle, no less, so I was surprised the guy didn't arrest me on the spot. In fact, I was expecting to have to fight him off, but instead, I gained a new contact at the Armory. Not a bad turn of events. Honestly, we think alike in a lot of ways, so now that we've established a clear boundary, as long as it isn't crossed, we get along great. I've never really had much formal schooling, so I thought it would be hard to get along with someone like Mitya. But he's helped me modify my rifle more than once, without me even having to ask. So clearly I was worried for nothing. Mitya is easy to talk to. I just treat him like any other neighbor, and it works out fine. Word to the wise, though, if he's off on one of his science tangents, steer clear. Hello, I'm Alyosha. I'm a hunter. Though, if you've talked to any highwaymen, you might have heard a different side to my story. But anyway, let's keep that between us for now. When it comes to honing your marksmanship, target practice and actual hunting are two different beasts. Then, of course, there's the skills you pick up in battle. That's a whole other story. If you ever want to adopt a dog, come find me. I've got all kinds of breeds, and I know that any of them would be in good hands with you. This amount goes back home, and this is for the Rokat to buy medicine. Now I just need to find enough for gun maintenance. Let's see which gang of highwaymen are out of luck this time. My hood's getting soaked. Oh no, Tugarin, don't shake. Time for the prey to crawl out of its hiding place. Perfect weather for an ambush. If you had anyone in mind, I can use the sound of the thunder to mask my gunshots. Tracking is going to be impossible in this. No wearing a hood in this weather. Wish I could shed some fur too. Hear that? That's the birds chirping away in the woods, like they do every morning. Why don't we go shoot a couple down? I usually eat lunch out in the wild, but I wouldn't exactly recommend it. Some of the rarest prey only come out at night. Go ahead and rest. I still have things to do, and I need the cover of night. When I first stumbled on Tugarin, the little guy had been abandoned in the snow. He was curled up in a ball and couldn't even move. He's a tough one, though. I fed him a couple sausages and he was up, running circles around me in no time. It's not like I have the rations to spare for a pet, But what's a hunter without a hunting dog? My father gave me this hunting rifle back in the day, but I've completely revamped it since then. Whether a weapon is scavenged, stolen, or bought, it can be the only thing standing between you and certain death, and that's always a risk. I'm putting my life on the line with this thing, so I have to know it like the back of my hand, down to its smallest component. Of course, maintenance and modification don't come cheap. If it takes skipping a couple meals to cover the cost, so be it. With the sprawling wilderness before them, a hunter turns back after catching their prey. But an adventurer always goes that extra step further. That's why you're the one with a list of epic deeds a mile long, and not me. That said, listening to you talk about all your thrilling adventures certainly isn't a bad way to pass the time. What kind of nation do you think Snezhnaya will become? You know, I've never asked anyone that before. The villagers are too busy worrying where their next meal is coming from, and the highwaymen are too preoccupied with their next scam. No one has the time to entertain that kind of talk. But you're the perfect person to ask. We don't need to swap answers right now, though. I still want to give it some thought. After all, I suppose it's just a different way of asking what ideal we aspire to. People often say that a vision is supposed to represent your deepest wishes, but that kind of pointless, fluffy thinking couldn't be more meaningless to me. All I care about is what this trinket can do for me. If I never discovered that it made me more powerful, I probably would have traded it for more by now. When you're off the beaten path in Snezhnaya, knowing the local code is an important skill. If you run into certain fae or highwaymen, being able to talk the talk can save you a lot of trouble. Oh, and if you ever encounter a group of people who keep muttering about chicken, go ahead and rob them blind. Chicken is code for a harmless civilian carrying a small amount of valuables, basically an easy target. The people who go after them are the worst of the worst, but they're no match for us. Plus, considering their own criminal record, they wouldn't even dream of reporting us to the Druzhna, so they just have to take it. I've heard there's a tavern in Mondstadt called the Cat's Tail, where Genius Invocation TCG masters from all over Teyvat go to face off. If I ever get the chance to travel abroad, that's the first place I want to go. I just wish Mondstadt wasn't so far from here. Why doesn't Snezhnaya have a place like that? Trying to get me to spill my secrets, huh? Fine. You can have one, but that's it. Being a hunter is a very useful disguise. Someone once asked me if there's a difference between pointing a gun at an animal versus a person. I didn't answer at the time, but I firmly believe there is one. It's just, the more shots I fire, the more that line gets blurred, and the more the motion of pulling the trigger starts to feel the same, no matter who I'm aiming at. So I take no pleasure in pointing my gun at people. Sometimes, I wonder what will happen if that line disappears one day. And that scares me. When I was a kid, a gang of thugs ransacked my home and stole all our belongings. My parents tried to brush it off and say that we'd be fine. But I knew what losing all we had meant for our family. So I decided to put my skills as a hunter to good use. And for the first time, my target wasn't an animal. Now their blood is on my hands, and I don't regret it. They deserved to pay for what they did. It turns out, though, they were as poor and destitute as we were, driven to desperation by circumstances beyond their control. That's when I realized, thugs and robbers aren't the real problem with this country. And if we can't figure out what it is, the blood on my hands is for nothing. I decided to join the Rokat because I feel like the principles we're fighting for are exactly what Snezhnaya needs right now. But I know one day that will no longer be the case. Once we get what we've been fighting for, a lot of things will change, and that's when the real test begins. In my eyes, realists are some of the most self-centered, opportunistic people in the world. Always fixated on profit, power, or what the people around them might be hiding. Idealists, on the other hand, might be some of the most noble among us. No tolerance for lying, stealing, or the slightest injustice. There's actually a third type of person, though. The realistic idealist. Caught in the middle, they live every day constantly pulled in opposite directions. Modifying, maintaining, and testing my rifle. I used to think firearm care was out of pure necessity. But considering how much time and more I pour into it, I suppose it's time to admit it's become something of a passion, too. Now that would be all the more I spend on modifying, maintaining, and testing my rifle. Do the math, and you might just realize the things you love the most in life are also the source of all your problems. Cured meat, long-lasting bread, cheese that melts when toasted. With those ingredients, all I need is a fire, and I always have a feast at my fingertips, even when surrounded by ice and snow. Anything with a shell. Crabs, lobsters, things like that. They cost an arm and a leg. You practically have to wrestle their pincers and spikes just to get them open. And after all that, there's barely any meat inside. It's not worth the cost or the effort. Thanks, it's delicious. Does this keep well? I think I'll finish it later. Why don't I help you get your hands on some rare wild game? Higher quality ingredients would make this even better. Well, can't let food go to waste. I'm sure there's a villager who needs this more than I do. Happy birthday. It is today, isn't it? You know, where I come from, birthday celebrations are usually a luxury we can't afford. Good luck scrounging up enough flour and cream for a cake, or finding someone who sells anything but the bare essentials to use as a gift. But I'll never begrudge a kid for wanting to celebrate their birthday. That's how it should be. And one day, I hope no child in Snezhnaya has to go without. So, I've decided to take your birthday very seriously, and I've put a lot of thought into the gift and card I got for you. Sometimes, you have to be the change you want to see in the world, right? Nice. Feels like my aim is more accurate. Tugarin's getting better too. Seems like we're more in sync. For better or for worse, my shots aren't going to miss now. How much further must we go until the world we're fighting for becomes a reality?